Until the 2008 crisis, the Chinese looked at the United States in unalloyed admiration, wanted to emulate the United States. And then after 2008, I said, maybe these guys aren't doing so well after all. And if you read the Chinese press and Chinese websites, luckily with Google Translate and similar devices, you can now follow Chinese internal debate much better than we ever could before. They are very critical of what's become of us. They point at our social problems, our political divisions. They've really moved away from admiring the United States to looking at the United States as a declining power, which is dangerous because it could lead them to overreach and be arrogant. And that's the kind of thing which can, under some circumstances, get you into a thing like a war. So I don't think it's good for the Chinese to feel too contemptuous of the United States. Unfortunately, many of the things they observe are issues which conservatives criticize as well.
How explanatory is Xi himself in understanding the modern Chinese state and the direction the country is going?
Everett Lutwack wrote a very interesting piece a year or two ago, observing that when Xi Jinping met Angela Merkel for the first time, he boasted to Merkel that he knew Goethe's great work Faust by heart. When Xi was a teenager, his father, who'd been a Red Army general, prominent person, fell victim to the Cultural Revolution, so he was exiled to the countryside as a miserable hamlet in the mountains. And the only book he had somehow got hold of was a Chinese language translation of Goethe's Faust. So he read it until he memorized it. I think she has some depth. Faust himself, Oswald Spengler talked about the Faustian spirit of modern capitalism in less than complimentary terms. There's something Faustian about Xi. He wants to drive China forward into great power status and force the Chinese to embrace this greatness. So I think there is definitely a Faustian character to him. But if you read his own stuff, it looks like it was written by bureaucrats on Xanax. I've tried to, but I can't read enough of it to get bored. It's just awful. So very hard to read him. Someone like Li Chang, who was Xi's sidekick going back more than 20 years, much more worldly. As the party chief in Shanghai, he moved heaven and earth to help Elon Musk build the mega plant for Tesla. Now Tesla is the single biggest car exporter, now maybe number 2, but one of the biggest car exporters out of China. So when you meet Chinese, I haven't met Xi Jinping, but I have met senior people in the management. Many of them are very worldly, extremely intelligent, extremely relaxed. They're not the kind of people you would expect to be Communist Party functionaries.
One of the names that, enough somewhat smart people have picked up on in the United States is this fellow, I think I'm going to butcher it, but Guo Wenghe, who they call, the Chinese Alexis de Tocqueville.
That's Steve Bannon's buddy.
Yeah. No, that's Miles Guo.
Miles Kwok.
Yeah, that's a different gentleman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, Guo Wenghe. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
sorry,
he wrote America Against America. I mean,
yes.
There's an effort, it feels like, in some American intellectual circles to do a version of what was attempted to be done with, ascribing Dugin as sort of the house intellectual of the Russian regime, that this fellow is the house intellectual of the Chinese regime. Do you think that's true? Do you think his work isn't really relevant?
I don't think there are too many key people to put your finger on one individual who I've met and have a very high opinion of is Wang Jisoo, He's the Dean of Foreign Relations at Peking University.
Oh, Wang Huning is the actual name of the
Yes,
gentleman
right.
I was thinking of.
Wang Jisi
Yeah.
is another important thinker.
So let's get to the relationship between China and the United States. The conventional wisdom in Washington is that great power competition is here, and that there are a number of military things we need to do. We need to reshore supply chains, and we need to engage in sort of aggressive cultural battle with China and sort of try to remove some of their corporate influence as well. What is your assessment of the current state of Chinese-U.S. relations, and where do you differ from this consensus of where we need to go?
Well, militarily, we have the conundrum that it's extremely difficult for either of us to fight each other because we're very, very far away. In the 1990s, the American Expeditionary Force, the Pacific Fleet, could steam an aircraft carrier through the Taiwan Strait and just told the Chinese basically to shut up. Nothing they could do about it. That's not the case anymore. And my complaint about some of the Taiwan hawks, including my old friend Bridge Colby, is that the Chinese have made massive investments in anti-ship missiles, in fourth and fifth generation aircraft, submarines, electronic warfare, and so forth to defend their coast, satellites. And the current Pentagon assessment is that the Chinese can basically hit anything within 1,000 miles of their coast on the surface with missiles. Not much we can do about it. We knew that at the Office of Net Assessment 10 years ago when I was a consultant. And our biggest problem is that we have the equivalent today running the Navy of the battleship lobby that in the 1930s and 1940s refused to recognize that their favorite weapons platform had become obsolete. So
it's the shiny toy brigade, like the aircraft carrier is the shiniest of all toys, and they want more of them.
We need to, now you can you might be able to launch drones out of submarines or something like that, but you can't run an aircraft carrier. The Chinese, we have what I forget the number, something like I forget how many scores of thousands of soldiers forward deployed. The total number of Chinese soldiers forward deployed is 200. They're Marines sitting in Djibouti, whose job is anti-piracy and civilian rescue. And according to the current Pentagon readout, the Chinese have no intention to expand their Marine force. They probably will get a base in Cambodia. So they have now one base in Djibouti. They'll have two when the dust settles. But what they have done is to massively invest in defending their coasts. And given the distances, it's very difficult for us to maintain control in that area and really impractical to defend Taiwan. The war games that you read are about, a Normandy-style invasion where, the Chinese come in landing craft and we've got the Taiwanese on the beach shooting them like in Saving Private Ryan. It's a ridiculous scenario. Chinese can simply blockade the island. They'll run out of fuel in 12 days. So the Chinese also don't want to kill a lot of Taiwanese. They're Chinese. They want to absorb them, and they're also highly skilled. So I think our ability to attack China is much less than war gamers like to think about. And of course, the Chinese don't have the means to attack us. So the good thing is it's not like Athens and Sparta, who were right there with knives at each other's throats. It's very hard for China and us to actually go to war unless we want to shoot missiles at each other. But that's a bad idea because we both have missiles and we just blow each other to pieces. So that's the good thing. The problem we have is that if the Chinese are able to successfully project their economy into what they call the fourth industrial revolution. They like that phrase, picked up from the World Economic Forum in Davos. We may end up like the north of England, a post-industrial, low-wage, high unemployment, second-rate form of power. And eventually, if our tech prowess stops pulling in money from around the world, then all of a sudden we might find it very difficult to finance our external deficits and internal deficits. We're $16 trillion in the hole to the rest of the world now. We've sold $16 trillion worth of assets, that is, over the last 30 years, to pay for our excess of imports over exports. What would happen if tomorrow we just couldn't pay for it? Well, living standards would drop in a big way. We'd have a depression. And how do we get that money in? Because people want to invest in America. If we cease to be a desirable investment location because the bulk of technologies move to somebody else, such as China, then we could be in a very, very big trouble. So I don't like the idea. I don't think it's a good thing or something we can sit back and simply let happen. On the other hand, when you have a country that graduates more engineers than the rest of the world combined, it's a real challenge to keep up with it.